Both Harry and Terry's girlfriends went away on a business trip for the weekend. During the whole time, the couples were texting and sending each other pictures. On Sunday morning, the girls asked their boyfriends to send them their selfies. Harry sent a selfie where he was smiling in the kitchen. Terry sent a selfie of himself in the bathroom. One of the girlfriends knew immediately that her boyfriend was cheating. Who was it, and how did the girlfriend know? It was Harry. Look at that lipstick mark on the glass on top of the kitchen counter. Becca and Tom are a couple. One of them rented a scooter from Brown Scooters and now needs to pay for the ride. A worker from the scooter company comes to charge the couple $15 that they owe. Becca and Tom start arguing over who should pay for the scooter. Becca says that Tom was the one who wrote it, so he should pay for it. But Tom says that it was Becca who wrote it and she should pay for it. Who is lying? Becca is lying. Take a look at Becca's footprints. They lead directly to the scooter. There were 3 thefts at a local supermarket. One in February, one in May, and one in July. Thankfully, the security camera recorded the footage of those 3 days. The store manager called Detective Moore, asking to solve the crime. The detective took a close look at the footage and noticed one detail that helped him solve the mystery. Take a look at the images and try to figure out who the thief is. In all 3 videos, there is a pregnant lady. In the video from February, she looks about 7 months pregnant. But in the other videos, from May and July, her belly looks exactly the same. This means that she is the thief. She must have been faking her pregnancy all along. Dr. O'Brien invented the time machine and traveled all the way back to prehistoric times. Take a look at this picture and see if you can spot Dr. O'Brien amongst other prehistoric people carrying out their activities. That's easy. It's the guy with the flashlight. He must have taken one with him when he set off on his journey. Katie was running late for class. When she finally arrived at the classroom, she accidentally dropped the pile of textbooks she was holding. It produced a loud thump, making the entire classroom stare at her. At that moment, Katie drew the attention of 20 eyes. How many people were in the classroom that day? There were 11 people. 10 people have a pair of eyes each, right? Add Katie to the equation. That makes a total of 11 people in the room. Police officer Dave received a call late at night. A famous chemist went missing from his lab. After searching the lab thoroughly, Dave found a note with ransom numbers scribbled on it. The note read 26 3 58, 28 27 57 16. Based on the note, Dave managed to find the scientist and arrest the criminals who had taken him. What was written in the encrypted note, and how did Dave understand it? The chemist is smart. Each number in the note corresponds to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponds to 26 is Fe, iron. Number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. If you use this logic, you can figure out that the first line spells Felice, and the numbers in the second line stand for Nicholas. After figuring out the names, Dave tracked the men down and arrested them. Helena finally got herself a new guitar. She wanted to play it right away, but she had to go to school. She locked the instrument inside her room and left. When she got home in the evening, the guitar was gone. She knew it must have been one of her family members, as they always played pranks on one another. So she questioned each one of them. Helena's mother said she hadn't even seen the guitar the girl had bought. Her dad said that he had seen it when he passed by Helena's room, but he swore he hadn't done anything to it. Helena's brother said he hadn't gone upstairs the whole day, so he hadn't seen the guitar either. Helena solved the mystery instantly. Can you figure it out? Her dad was lying. He said he'd seen the guitar when passing by the girl's room, but that's impossible. Helena locked the door when she left. A bank was robbed by masked strangers. One of the robbers asked the teller to give them all the money hidden in the bank safe. But suddenly, the teller's phone rang. It was his mother. The robber told the guy to pick up the phone to avoid arousing suspicion. On the phone, the teller asked, "Is there an emergency, Mother? Call me when you get home and I'll help you with the dinner." Then he hung up. 5 minutes later, while the robbers were still in the bank, the police arrived at the crime scene. How did the police know about the robbery? The teller was smart. While he was speaking on the phone with his mother, he pressed the mute button while he was saying some of the words. So what his mother heard on the other end of the line was, "Emergency, Mother, call help." On the outskirts of a town, there was a haunted house. A group of friends decided to check it out. They went there at night, but as soon as they got there, one of the friends refused to go inside and tried to stop the others. But they just laughed and left him behind. There were terrible crashing sounds coming from the house, and then everything went still. John never saw his friends again. How did John understand that there was something seriously wrong with the house? John was very attentive. He noticed that there was lots of footprints leading towards the house, but none going away. A famous hotel has 7 floors. 5 people are staying on the first floor. 8 people are staying on the second floor. 11 people are staying on the third floor, and so on. Each next floor has 3 more people living there than the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator most often? The first floor. Any person staying on a floor other than the first has to call the elevator to reach their destination. In a small town, 3 teachers asked for sick leave on the same day. Janet said she had got into a car accident and broke her leg. Now she was having difficulty walking with the cast and all. Emma complained she'd had a very unfortunate workout and injured her neck. She couldn't even turn her head. And Tina said that she'd fallen from her bike and hurt her arm. One of the teachers is lying. Can you tell who? It's Janet. She claims she's having difficulty walking with the cast, but she doesn't even have crutches. You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room with 4 doors in front of you. You hear a monster coming, so you check the door quickly. The leftmost door has a sign on it saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The second door also has a sign saying, "It's the right door." The third door has a sign, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door has a sign saying, "Don't trust the signs." Which door should you choose? Well, there's a little bit of wordplay here. Let's see why. The first door says to take the door on the right. The second one says it's the right door. Not the correct door, but the door on the right. The third door says, "Freedom is just right in front of you." That just doesn't make any sense, does it? You can interpret this statement as pointing at the door just on your right. Well, that's it. It's the last door. It does tell you not to trust the other signs, but it doesn't tell you that they're false, does it? James arrives at a beautiful haunted hotel in the mountains. He meets 3 people in the lobby: Gemma, Mike, and Peter. Each person claims to be the hotel manager. Can you help James figure out the real one? Take a look at Gemma. She's holding a badge with Mike's picture, and according to this badge, Mike is a cleaner. Meanwhile, Peter is holding a passport with Gemma's picture. Therefore, she's probably a guest. So Peter is the real manager of this place. Peter gives James this key and says,
"It's from our best penthouse. The room is yours if you manage to find the matching keyhole."
Can you help James accomplish this task? He should choose the 3rd hole. James should choose one of these 3 elevators to get to his room, but only one of them is safe. Which one would you suggest? There's a ghost hiding in the mirror inside the 1st elevator, and the 3rd one doesn't have any floor, so he should use the 2nd elevator. James is walking down the hallway and spots 3 weird details. Can you see them too? The doors are numbered completely out of order. This painting on the wall is moving, and there's a snake hiding inside this plant. James enters his penthouse, but he immediately runs away screaming. Why? Someone's invisible hands are playing this piano. James asks Peter to give him another room. Peter offers him 3 options. Which one should James choose? There are spiders on the bedsheets in the 2nd room, and there's a werewolf hiding under the bed in the 3rd room. So the 1st room is the best choice. James unpacks all his things and finally goes to the shower. After that, he returns to his room and finds out that he had been robbed. Can you spot what exactly was stolen? A box of matches, shoelaces, and a book. James gets very upset because he keeps all his cash in the stolen book. He calls the police, but there's no service. James hits the road and gets stuck in this traffic jam. Can you figure out which car should move first? The 3rd car should move first by reversing. Finally, James arrives at the police station. He sees these 2 women behind the bars. One of them is the wife of the jail guard. Can you guess who? The 2nd lady. They're both wearing similar pendants. Detective Green listens to James's story and goes to the hotel. He finds 3 suspects and asks them only one question. Did you enter James's room after he moved in? Mike replies, "Nope, I cleaned this room early in the morning and I haven't entered it since." Maya says, "I live next door and I heard James singing in the shower, but I didn't enter his room." And Peter replies, "No, sir, I was in the lobby the whole time. I would never risk my job by stealing a stupid book." Can you spot the thief? Peter. Detective Green never mentioned what exactly was stolen. The hotel owner fires Peter and offers his job to James. James agrees. The owner wants to check his logical thinking. That's why he offers James to solve a riddle. Can you find anything similar between the front of a lady and the back of a seal? The correct answer is the letter L. James gets the job. His first task is to take care of these 4 new guests who have just arrived, but only 2 of them are real. Can you guess who? The first lady is a ghost. Take a look at her feet. She's levitating. And the 4th guy is a thief. He's stealing a credit card from the second person's bag. So, only the second and the third person are actually the guests. James goes to the restaurant to have some dinner. The cook serves him a big dish with sushi, but James didn't wash his hands, so he leaves for the bathroom. When he returns, he sees that someone has eaten a couple of items from his plate. James questions 3 suspects. Gemma, the guest, says,
Honey, are you kidding me? I'm allergic to all kinds of seafoods.
Tim, the waiter, replies,
I was too busy. I took an order in another part of the hall and didn't look at your table. I'm sorry.
Carl, the cook, says, That's too bad. I made this sushi only for you. Who's lying? Gemma, if she's allergic to all kinds of seafoods, why did she order this lobster? James goes to the hotel basement to check the storage room. This is how it looks right now. And this is how the storage used to look in the morning. Can you spot what's missing? Two buckets, 1 mop, and 1 bathrobe. James gets lost in the basement and finds these 3 doors leading upstairs. Each door hides something surprising. There's a creepy clown behind the first door. There's a hungry wolf behind the second door. And the third way is filled with toxic gas. Which way is the safest? The first one. Although the clown is creepy, who said that he's dangerous? There's a power outage throughout the hotel area. About an hour later, at 10 p.m., the local mechanics finish all repairs and turn the lights back on. James returns to the lobby and faces one of the guests, Nancy. She's crying because someone had stolen all the money and gadgets from her room. James finds 3 suspects and asks them just one question. What were you doing within the last hour? Kim says that she was just chilling in a restaurant and had nothing to do with the robbery. Alex spent all his evening skiing in the hotel ski resort. And Robin had just arrived from the city, and it was quite a quest to find the hotel in the dark. Who's the thief? Alex. How would he ski in total darkness? James goes to the shower. He finds these 3 bars of hotel soap, but only one of them is safe to use. Can you guess which one? The first soap had expired a long time ago. Take a look at the date. It was made in 1980. And there's a little scorpion hiding under the 3rd soap, so James should definitely choose the second one. James decides to have a walk around the hotel before sleep. Unfortunately, he gets lost in the garden. Now he needs to get out of this crazy maze. Can you help him out? Here's the only way to escape from this trap. Carl, the local cook, is making an exclusive soup using his granny's recipe. He mixes all the ingredients except for one last one. Suddenly, the wind blows off the recipe and the sheet of paper with the recipe flies into the fireplace. The cook is desperate. He doesn't remember the name of the last ingredient, but he knows for sure that it stands on the shelf with seasonings. Also, he knows that the soup should be orange. Can you help Carl finish the dinner? When you mix red and yellow, they turn into an orange. That's why Carl should add red and yellow spices. James reads the hotel reviews online. Lucy writes,
They gave me a room with a garden view, but I wanted mountains. But the food is still amazing.
Giselle says,
This hotel is so noisy and dirty. Carpets in the lobby are stained. Gross. 1 star.
Jessica writes,
OMG. Last night I saw a ghost in my room. This hotel is really haunted.
one of these reviews is fake. Can you guess which one? The second review isn't real. There are no carpets in the lobby.
4 people are having dinner on a restaurant terrace. Jennifer is wearing 2 large gold bracelets and gold rings on each of her fingers. Martin's fiddling with a brand new phone and checking the time on his smartwatch. Connor has a tattoo on his hand and a dazzling gold watch on his wrist. Steve doesn't have any watches, rings, or bracelets, but he is wearing a smart suit. Only one of them is a millionaire. Can you guess who? It's Steve. He's got car keys in his pocket, and there's a brand new sports car parked nearby. Jennifer has old ripped shoes. All that gold's probably fake. Martin's phone is a knockoff, and Connor has old ripped shoes, just like Jennifer. Mark's teacher is great, but he's also kinda weird. He never lets Mark go home without solving some of his tricky riddles. Here's the first one. How many apples are there on a maple tree if apples grow 5 on a branch and there are 8 branches on the tree? Okay, this one's easy. Apples don't grow on maple trees. This next one's going to be harder. Get ready, said the teacher. Where are there cities with no houses, forests with no trees, and rivers without water? You've got only 7 seconds. Yeah, this one's easy too. On a map. Right, said the teacher. One more and I'll let you go. Who's the person everyone takes their hat off in front of? Mark knew the answer immediately, probably because he's a huge fan of Brightside Riddles. Can you guess it? It's a hairdresser, of course. Unless you want a really weird haircut, I guess. Poor Fanny lived with her stepmother and 3 wicked stepsisters. Her dream was to go to her favorite influencer's New Year's party, but her stepmother, Ruth, was pretty mean. She said Fanny could go only if she did everything Ruth asked. Ruth asked Fanny to bring her some water, but only gave her a colander to carry it in. How's Fanny gonna do it? Fanny needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. Technically, it's still water. Time to choose the perfect dress. Fanny has 3 dresses, a blue one, a red one, and a green one. Which dress should Fanny wear? Find the best one in 10 seconds. Fanny should wear the red dress. That button on the blue dress is about to come off, and one of her stepsisters spilled paint on the green one. Which sister put paint on her dress? All 3 stepsisters are pretty mean. Time to investigate. Fanny snuck into their bedroom. 3 beds for 3 sisters. Bella, the oldest one, Stella, the middle sister, and Ella, the youngest one. Fanny only has a few seconds. Help her out. Can you figure out who ruined her dress? Stella's the culprit. There's a can of paint right under her bed. There's something all people in this world do at exactly the same speed. What is it? Aha, they get older. It flies without wings and cries without eyes. What is it? It's a cloud. What can you see with your eyes closed? A dream. Okay, enough with the easy short riddles. Let's go back to some harder ones. Jack and Jill set up a challenge. Whoever answers yes to every question wins. Jill was sneaky. She realized that there was one question nobody could say yes to. What question is that? The question is, are you sleeping? She waited until Jack fell asleep and then asked him the question. Whoa, those guys are intense. Emily and Mary are putting on their makeup, getting ready for a night out. They have really similar tastes. Their phones look the same, so do their lipsticks, clothes. So which one of them has the more expensive stuff? It's Mary. Take a closer look at Emily. Her dress kind of gives it away, since it's obviously a knockoff. When Mike was 25 years old, he tied a ribbon on a cherry tree in his grandfather's garden. 10 years later, he returned to see how much higher the ribbon was. If the tree grew by an inch each year, how much higher would the ribbon be? It wouldn't have changed position at all. Trees grow from the top up. The trunk just gets wider. A green apple costs $1, a red one costs $2, and a blue one costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Frank buy, if we know that he spent $3 using only 2 bills? Frank bought a green and a red one. He paid $1 bill for the green one and a $2 bill for the red one. Yeah, he could have grabbed the blue one and given the same 2 bills, but blue apples don't exist. Gotcha. 2 houses are on fire. One of them belongs to Jack. He's an accountant. The other one is a luxurious mansion that belongs to James, a pro basketball player. Which fire should the police put out first? Police don't put out fires. That's the fire department's job. 2 people came up to a large river. There was only one boat, and it was pretty old and shabby. The boat can carry only one person at a time, but both people got across the river. How come? One of the people was already on the other side of the river. Only one person needed a boat. 3 friends fell asleep under a tree in the countryside. While they were resting, someone passed by and painted mustaches on their faces. When the friends woke up, they started to laugh. But then, all of a sudden, they stopped. Why? At first, they saw the mustaches on their friends' faces and found it funny. But then, they realized their friends were laughing too. They had mustaches on their faces as well. Alice was walking through a dark forest. Suddenly, she saw an old cabin. Hey, wonder if a witch lives in there. She wanted to try her luck and snoop around, but the door was locked. On the gate, though, was a note with a secret code. Well, can you crack this code? The answer is magic. 3 stars before karma means you need to get rid of the first 3 letters. 2 stars after gift mean you need to get rid of the last 2 letters. For coat, you need to get rid of the last 3 letters. Aunt Tilda is a huge fan of cats. She lives in a 1-story house full of cat garden statues, a cat rug, cat wallpaper, cat cushions, and about 100 cat fridge magnets. Oh, and the 25 cats that live with her. What color cat is in the painting upstairs? She lives in a one-story house. There aren't any cat paintings upstairs. Ashton loves taking and making bets. Every time he meets his friends, he has a new one. Last Friday, he suggested a challenge. He said he could place a bottle in the middle of a room and easily crawl into it. This time, Ashton's friends were sure they'd win. It seemed impossible. Still, Ashton won the bet again. How did he do it? He said he could place a bottle in the room and crawl into it. So he placed a bottle in the middle of the room and crawled into the room. Sneaky. You have 2 ropes. If you burn each side of the rope, it will burn for 60 minutes. How can you measure 45 minutes if you have these 2 ropes and a box of matches? You need to burn one of the ropes from both sides. At the same time, you set fire on the second rope too, but from one side only. When the first rope burns down, the second rope will still have 30 minutes to go. Now, you need to set on fire the second end of the rope. It'll burn 2 times faster, and you'll burn both ropes in 45 minutes. You're in a photo gallery. After looking at the wall, you realize that one of the pictures doesn't belong. You see a raccoon, a llama, a football, and a balloon. Can you tell which is the odd one out? You have 7 seconds to guess. It's the llama. The other 3 objects have 2 double letters in their names, but the llama only has 1. Gabrielle cooked a lovely dinner for her friends. When everybody was at the table, she suddenly realized one of them didn't like the meal. Who was it? It was Mike. He secretly shared it with Gabrielle's dog. 3 plus 3 equals 8. Move just 2 matches to make this equation correct. You've only got 10 seconds. It's 9 minus 9 equals 0. Grab a match from the plus to turn the 3 into a 9, and 1 more match from the 8 to turn the other 3 into a 9. There are 5 apples in a basket and 5 people in the room. Each person takes an apple, but there's still only 1 apple in the basket. How come? The last person took both an apple and the basket. So there. Holly went to the supermarket to buy a watermelon. She found these 4 watermelons, but only one of them is edible. Can you guess which one? The first watermelon is a hologram. See those flashing pixels? The tail of the second watermelon is a green snake, probably not the safest choice. And the fourth watermelon has little cracks. So, Holly should choose the third watermelon. One dark, cold night, Harry and Pam were chilling together in their country house. Harry was watching a movie while his wife Pam enjoyed her favorite mystery book. Suddenly, all electricity went out. Harry decided to go to bed, but Pam decided to finish the book. There was no artificial light around, but this fact didn't stop Pam. How is that possible? Pam was listening to an audiobook on her phone. It's big on Saturday and Sunday. It's small on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's absent on Monday and Friday. What are we talking about? It's the letter S. Bella and Ken took a flight to Europe to celebrate their honeymoon. It took them 2.5 hours to reach the destination. After spending 2 weeks together, they flew back home. However, it took 150 minutes this time, even though the plane flew at the same speed. Can you guess why? Turns out that 2.5 hours are exactly 150 minutes. Karen went camping in a jungle with her 3 best friends. They had a wonderful dinner and went to sleep. In the morning, Karen woke up first and found out that someone had eaten all the food from the bag. She questioned her friends. Josh said, "I was very tired and fell asleep as soon as my head touched the pillow. I don't know what happened." Leah said, "I left the tent in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. The food was in the bag near the tree where we left it." Wendy said, "I left the tent at night and spent some time stargazing. I ate just 1 chocolate, I swear." Who ate the food? It was the monkey who was hiding in the tree. See those footprints around the bag? They are definitely not human. Gerald is a college dean. Somebody stole his car this morning. Soon the police found it across the street. The thief hit a pole and escaped. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Holly said, "I was busy having classes all morning. Then I went for a walk with my friends." Brian said, "I was checking the test papers." Rob said, "I skipped classes and spent the day at my girlfriend's studio." Can you guess who stole the car? It was Holly. Take a closer look inside the car. She lost one of her earrings. The combined age of Jenny and Jasmine is 49 years old. Jenny is twice as old as Jasmine was when Jenny was as old as Jasmine is now. How old are the sisters? Jenny is 28 and Jasmine is 21. Lisa likes grapes but not potatoes. She likes squash but not lettuce. Also, she likes peas but not onions. Following the same rule, will she like pumpkins or apples? Pumpkins, because Lisa only prefers things that grow on vines. Which of the following words don't belong to this group and why? Quartz. All the other words are anagrams of each other. 2 people participated in a contest. They had to hold something. Finally, the jury announced the winner. It was a person with their hands and feet tied. How can this be possible? It's all simple. The contestants had to hold their breath, and the tied person managed to hold it the longest. Becky is thinking about a 7-letter word that we read very often. Letters 5, 6, and 7 grow every year. Letters 3 and 4 are the same. Letters 3, 2, and 5 cover over 70% of the world. What word is Becky thinking of? The correct answer is message. Our age grows every year, and the C covers over 70% of the planet. Amy is looking at Nick, and Nick is looking at Mia. Amy is married, and Mia is not. Is a married person looking at the unmarried person? Will you go with a yes or a no? Or is this information insufficient? The correct answer is yes. 2 combinations are possible here. If Nick is married, Mia, who is unmarried, is looking at him, who is married. If Nick is unmarried, we still have Amy, who's married. In this case, she's looking at Nick, who is single, which meets the requirements too. 5 friends were eating apples. Amy finished before Bob, but after Kat. Dan finished before Eve, but after Bob. Can you figure out the exact order in which they finished the apples? Kat, Amy, Bob, Dan, and Eve. Eric's job is to guard a supermarket parking lot. One day, he was walking around the area as usual and noticed that someone had parked the car in the middle of the driveway. He questioned 4 women. "Ladies, who is the owner of this car?" All 4 women replied, "It's not my car." Eric took a closer look at the vehicle and figured out its owner right away. Can you guess which of these women is the owner of the car? It's the First Lady. She's the only person who's not wearing a bag. Her bag is in the car. Peter came home in the evening and found his car wrecked. His 3 roommates were there. Peter decided to find out who was guilty, so he questioned them. Josh replied, "I didn't touch your car. I was walking the dog." Mike said, "That wasn't me. I was playing football with my friend." And Will said, "Nothing special happened today. I was just hanging out with our neighbors." Can you spot the liar? It's Will. He said he'd visited the neighbors, but nobody lives in this abandoned house. Plus, his cheek looks like he was in a crash. Sophie was sleeping. Suddenly, a robber broke into her apartment. He locked Sophie in the bathroom and asked her to stay quiet. Then the robber began to collect cash and jewelry around the apartment. Suddenly, the phone started ringing. The robber told Sophie to pick up and talk without giving away the situation. Sophie picked up the phone. It was her husband. She said, "Oh, hi, darling. Is it an emergency, darling? Give me a call when you land. I'll cook your favorite meal that will help you relax after your business trip." Then she hung up. 10 minutes later, the police arrived at Sophie's house and caught the robber. Can you guess how the police learned about the robbery? Sophie played with the mute buttons. She pressed mute on specific parts of her conversation to make her husband only hear "emergency," "call," and "help." And he called the police right away. Rick woke up in a weird basement and saw 3 doors. He has only one chance to escape. If he enters one of the doors, he won't be able to use them again. The first door leads to a room with high-voltage wires hanging above the wet floor. Behind the second door, there's a room filled with water and piranhas swimming in it. The third door leads to a space where flesh-melting acid rain is falling from the ceiling. Which door is more or less safe to enter? Rick should choose the first door. He'll be okay if he won't let his body come in contact with the wires and the wet floor at the same time. Jerry called his wife Robin and told her that he would be home by 7 o'clock. They didn't plan anything special for that evening, but when he arrived at 2 minutes past 7, Robin was furious. Why was she so angry? Any ideas? She thought her husband would come home after work by 7 p.m., but he appeared by 7:02 a.m. the next morning. When the day after tomorrow is yesterday, today will be as far from Wednesday as today was from Wednesday when the day before yesterday was tomorrow. What is the day after this day? Can you guess? It's Thursday. Harry and Barry are 2 magicians performing this evening in 2 nightclubs on the same street. but one of them is fake. Can you guess who? It's Barry. Take a closer look under the magician's tuxedo. On the right, you can see a restaurant employee badge with his name on it. He must be a waiter who came instead of the real magician. A monkey, a squirrel, and a bird are racing to the top of a coconut tree. Who will get the banana first, the monkey, the squirrel, or the bird? None of them, because bananas don't grow on coconut trees. Bonnie is cooking dinner. She has 3 stoves, a gas stove, a wood stove, and a coal stove, but only one match. What should she light first of all? The match! You are a bus driver. 9 people get on the bus, and 3 people get on. Then 2 more people get on, and another 1 gets off. Finally, 4 more people get on, and 2 get off again. How old is the bus driver? Whatever your age is, remember the question? You're the driver.
Who is wanted? The girl on the right. She has the same mole as the girl on the poster. Who is an identity thief? It's the man on the right. His real ID is sticking out of his backpack, which means he must be showing a fake ID. Who is an imposter? The girl on the left. The script she's reading is turned upside down. It means she only pretends to be an actress. Who is the real thief? Both of these men are thieves. While one man is distracting the girl, the other is preparing to steal her phone. The last will of Mr. Wilson, a rich businessman, got stolen. There were 5 people in the house at that moment: Mr. Wilson's wife, their cook, butler, maid, and gardener. They all told the detective what they'd been doing that evening. Mrs. Wilson was sitting by the fireplace embroidering. The cook was making breakfast. The butler was supervising several workers in the living room. The maid was sweeping the floors in the hallway. The gardener was watering the plants in the greenhouse. Right after this conversation, the detective arrested the thief. Who is the culprit? And how'd the detective figure it out? The cook is the thief. He said he'd been preparing breakfast, but the crime happened in the evening. Lily owned a flower store. One day, she got a call from the police. They told her that her shop had been robbed. When she arrived, shards of glass were on the ground near the store, and the pots and plants inside were broken. The police questioned 3 suspects. Jacob, Lily's ex, said, "I was in a hurry and didn't notice that the windows were broken when I was passing by the store. I only realized what had happened when the police called me." Camille, Lily's friend, said,
Lily asked me to help her with something in the store. When I arrived, everything had already been broken. I called the police immediately.
Matt, Lily's ex-coworker, said,
"I was walking nearby and I saw someone breaking a window and sneaking into the shop. I left my phone at home, so I ran to the police station."
Can you guess who's lying? Matt is lying. Shards of glass were laying on the ground, which meant that the criminal had to break the window from the inside. Let's take a little break. Now, you need to think fast. Mary's mom has 4 daughters. One daughter is called April, the second is named May, and the third daughter is June. What's the fourth daughter's name? It's Mary, of course. Who doesn't belong to this list? Napoleon Bonaparte, Queen Elizabeth, William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, Aristotle, Christopher Columbus, Donald Trump. Sherlock Holmes. He's the only fictional character on the list. 8 girls are in the house and each of them is busy with something. The first one is cooking dinner. The second one is lighting the fireplace. The third girl is playing chess. The fourth one is reading a book. The fifth girl is drawing a picture. The sixth is cleaning up the house. The seventh girl is watering the plants. What is the eighth girl doing? She's playing chess with the third girl. One woman turned 40 in 1850, but in 1860 she was 30 years old. How could this happen? This could only happen if 1860 was earlier than 1850, which means that the woman turned 40 in 1850 BCE and 30 in 1860 BCE. An artist was walking in the park when it suddenly started raining. He had neither a hat nor an umbrella to cover his head. He also couldn't hide under a tree because the downpour was too heavy, and still, not a single hair on his head got wet. How can that happen? The artist was bald. Now let's get back to our detective riddles. Robert won $1 million in the lottery. He decided not to tell anyone about this, including his wife. At home, he put his money in a safe hidden behind a painting. The next day, the money disappeared. The police invited all the suspects for questioning. Emily, Robert's wife, said, "In the morning, I went to my husband's home to clean up there. The safe was open and there was nothing inside." James, Robert's business partner, said, "Poor Robert, he always wanted to win a lottery. I stayed at home all day and yesterday and watched TV." And Mark, Robert's friend, said, "I was at the gym last night, then I went home. I can't imagine why anyone would do this." The police arrested the thief. Can you guess who it was? Robert's business partner did this. Robert didn't tell anyone that he'd won the lottery. His wife noticed an empty safe when she entered the office, but she didn't know what was inside. Marina was participating in a figure skating championship. She was a very strong competitor, and many people believed she could win. When the time for a warm-up ran out, all the participants started preparing for the performance. Marina was the first. She was amazing, but suddenly she tripped, fell down, and broke her leg, which made her unable to continue. The investigation revealed that someone had ruined her skates. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Anna said, "I didn't do anything, but I saw Jacqueline and Kate walking into the locker room before Marina's performance. They're the ones who ruined her skates." Jacqueline said, "Yes, I indeed went into the locker room to take my things, but I didn't see Kate there." And Kate said, "Yeah, that's because I've been practicing in the gym until it was my turn. Besides, Anna is lying. I saw her in the locker room." Can you guess who's lying? Kate. She couldn't train in the gym because the time for the warm-up had been over by the time the competition started. Here's what happened. Kate went into the locker room and ruined Marina's skates. Jacqueline came into the locker room after her, and that's what Anna saw. Jane is afraid that she might have a stalker. She brought some photos of herself and her friends to the police. The police immediately found the culprit. Who is Jane's stalker?
Jane's friend Mike. He's the only one who is present in all the photos, and sometimes he even tries to conceal his identity. The investigation didn't have enough evidence to prove the suspect was guilty. Detective Reed decided to investigate their house, hoping to find some clues, and he actually did find something. He discovered a secret room. However, it had a combination lock and the word "idea" written above it. Do you have any idea what the code might be? "9451. The code is the number of each of the letters in the alphabet. The door opened to the suspect's secret office. At first glance, there is nothing suspicious inside. A table with a book in the middle, some dusty furniture, and a picture on the wall. The detective examined the painting and found a safe with a 3-digit code behind it. Next to it, there was a note with a hint: P270L7-8. Can you guess what the detective needs to do next? The detective realized that the note meant page 270, lines 7 to 8. He should check out the book on the table. The detective found the necessary lines on page 270. They read, "After wandering through the desert for 4 days and 3 nights, I came across a couple of travelers. They fed me and gave me one of their camels." This is a clue that can help crack the code to the safe. What is it? "721. 4 days and 3 nights make 7. A couple of travelers is 2. And don't forget about 1 camel." The detective opened the safe and found the evidence that proved that the suspect was guilty. In the middle of the night, someone stole a unique artifact from a museum. The museum guard claimed it had been a robber. Detective Reed arrived at the crime scene immediately and questioned the guard. The man said, I was walking around the museum. Suddenly I saw a dark shadow. I called out to them, but they didn't respond." But Detective Reed noticed that something was wrong with this story. Can you guess what it is? There are only one person's footprints on the floor. If there was the guard and the criminal in the museum, shouldn't there be 2 sets of footprints? Detective Reed asked the guard what he did next. The man said, "I ran after the thief and saw them break the glass door and steal the artifact. The alarm didn't go off, as they had probably turned it off." Is the guard telling the truth? The door is indeed broken, but it's also open. It can only be opened with a key. It looks like someone opened the door to prevent the alarm from going off, and then broke the glass to hide the traces. The detective asked the man what had happened next. The guard said, "I ran up to the criminal and tried to stop them, but they sprayed something in my eyes, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I immediately called the police." Is he telling the truth? His eyes look totally fine. The robbery happened just a few hours ago. If the guard was telling the truth, his eyes would at least look red. He must be lying. The guard turned out to be the thief and was arrested.